I'm telling you guys, even before the interview begins, I'm already challenged in some way in this topic and in this conversation of shaping your children's, basically their money habits and how they relate with finances. This is financial fitness. You know what we do. We talk about all matters money because we want to ensure that not just us, but also the children and the generations to come will be financially fit. It is indeed true that this is one of those talks and conversations that people don't normally have. It's uncomfortable for some people, but it is even through this show that even I myself have changed a lot of my perspectives and even adopted some better money habits. So I believe that even as it is transforming me, it is also going to be transforming you. So welcome once again. This is Hope at Dawn, and of course we are live on YouTube, so you can follow through with the program. For all the parents watching, you can incorporate your child, your teenager or your preteen to follow along and tag along even as we have this conversation, because it's important even as we approach the festivities. Allow me to welcome my guest. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Yeah, and also having me here today.
Yes.
Yeah, my name is James Wanyugi, and I'm a financial advisor. I'm a licensed, I've been licensed by the IRA, and I'm also a personal finance coach. Yeah, and we're here today to talk about this very difficult conversation about finances.
Yes.
I know it's so sensitive because it touches our sweat, it's what we labor, it's our blood. Sometimes it becomes so sensitive because it connects into what we do every day.
Yeah.
So we are here to unravel and to have this conversation and see where it leads at the end of this hour.
Oh yes, I'm looking forward myself to learning a lot.
Sure.
Because as we were saying, even as we are speaking to the children about their money habits, it has to begin from us.
It has to begin with us.
Yes, but we're going to talk about that even as we proceed. But even as we begin, maybe you can tell us your own personal experience. Do you have children? At what point did you begin to teach them? What were even the first lessons of teaching them about their money habits?
Awesome. Yeah, I have 4 children. I like mentioning that.
Yes.
And I have 2 adopted. I have a 23-year-old boy, an 18-year-old boy.
Wow.
I have a 10-year-old girl and a 6-year-old boy. Yeah, they are so amazing. And you have asked a question, and I think maybe we will come to this later.
Yes.
But I think we will come to age-appropriate conversations about finances because each child have their own age-appropriate conversation about money.
Okay.
But basically we come to as low as when they start to know numbers. You know, like that 3-year-old, when they start mentioning 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, do they start knowing money as numbers? We start as low as 3 years, and then the conversation continues, or they become complex. Like the 23-year-old one we talk about now, debts and all that. So, but we start as early as 3 years old. Yes.
Amazing.
Yes.
And what would you say is the importance of shaping those money habits, even from that tender age, and even with relation to your own experience that you've had with your children?
Great. For me, I come to this place of when we parent our children, we parent them to leave us, like go away from us. We teach them to be independent.
Yeah.
And when we talk about this, they cannot be independent if they don't know how to handle money. So when I talk about independence and our children leaving us, if I don't see actually them facing away from me from the moment they are born, actually they are crawling, facing away from me.
Yeah.
By the time they come to 3 years, they are still facing away from me. If I don't teach them about these money habits, it means they will be in a place where instead of going to have independence, they will now recoil back to myself. And I think this is where now we see people in their 30s, 40s still depending on their parents, because maybe whatever they get, they don't know how to handle that. So for me, this is so passionate, and I think I've come from a place where being raised by a single mother, and she taught me how to queue in a bank those days to go deposit money for her. She was she was a Form 4 graduate, if I may say that, but the money habits she had, I don't know where she learned them from. And I think I picked that and I say it, why not teach them to my children? And whenever we have this conversation, I actually up to yesterday, I was having a conversation with my daughter, like, Dad, do you think if I save this much, how will it be in the next few years? And I think I really love this, where money becomes a very comfortable conversation, and we can strike it anywhere at all time. Yes.
Beautiful. And we will get down to your daughter, because
Sure. Sure.
you mentioned that she launched a book.
Yeah, she's an author to last Friday. She launched her first book.
Yeah.
And it was super exciting, but again, we will come that later.
We will come to that, because I am curious about a lot of things. But anyway, even as we continue with this conversation, maybe let's now get down to some of those money habits.
Yeah.
I believe it's important for us to kind of just have them and to understand what are some of these money habits that even not just for our children, but we need to incorporate and now teach them to our kids.
Sure. Yeah, I want to start with the most basic one. And I come to this place where we want to tell our children about planning our money.
Yeah.
Do we track our money? Do we budget? And the word budget can be so big. There are people actually, when they hear the word budget, they shiver. But actually, do we budget as parents, even as we come to this place of teaching them to budget? And maybe later we will come to a place where how do we differentiate how they earn money versus the chores, and how do I differentiate being a family member and earning money from doing stuff at home? So that again, we come to this place where do we teach them to have this budgeting? Do we teach them how to track their money? We teach them how to delay gratification, where maybe we have worked in a supermarket, especially at this season, where you see a child sitting on the floor in a supermarket in the ice cream area. I'm not moving from here until I get this. And I think when we teach them delayed gratification, where we can walk into a supermarket, intentionally do a normal house shopping without buying in even a snack. Even the 10 bob, wow, they call them wow. And sometimes we may not realize it, but the moment we keep on pushing boundaries in money, it pushes like, we don't have to have control of our finances. But delayed gratification is when, if we say we are buying A, B, C, D, we walk to those shelves, buy that, go to the cashier and walk away with them. But when it comes to maybe buying toys and all that, can we budget for that? I know we do that when we walk into a gift shop. We give them 1,000, maybe at this season towards Christmas. Buy whatever you need with this 1,000. How will you break it down? And we walk with them, give them the freedom to write whatever they need. I've bought a 200 toy. I'm remaining with 800 shillings. I've added a 300 shillings all the way to the way. By the way, I'm exceeding how much I've taken. What will I take back? And I think these are places where he is tracking, or they are tracking their money on, like, as you watch them. And I think these are places where maybe some of us have never done it, but some of us maybe we could be there. But this actually, research has shown that the children who have learned to delay their gratification, even when they grow up, they are able now, even when they come to drugs and all this stuff, peer pressure, they are able to delay that such thing, because it's not, they can say they can delay that, or they can say no and be comfortable about it. So it doesn't just trickle down to finances only. As we teach them on finances, it trickles down to other character trait in their lives. So another thing is to make this conversation very comfortable with them, where maybe if I'm struggling as a parent, I'm able to tell them, for now, we will not buy this because we haven't planned for it now, but can we do it the next few months? Can we plan for it in future? They are able now to see money is not just a place where I can click a button, I can ask for it and get it immediately. So those are some of the skills we need to intentionally teach them. And also consistency in what we do. Do we do impulse buying? Do we tell them, by the way, we can afford this now, but this one we can delay? But how do we go about it? How are we having consistency in the way we buy things? We don't just do random buys. So impulse buying also is an area where we need to teach them on finances. Yes.
Wow, that's powerful, because
sure.
You've mentioned something very important about letting them know that right now it's not possible.
Yes.
But then later we'll be able to do this.
Yes.
Because there are situations whereby a parent will just say no.
Yes.
Or they're like, no, I'm not going to do this. And even they get angry and frustrated.
Yes.
And, at home, mtoto anapata a good beating.
Yes.
They're like, ni either uamke hapa ama nichukue kiboko.
Exactly.
You know, that kind of a thing. What is the importance of taking the route of making this a conversation, more of this is why we cannot afford it right now and we are going to do it later, as opposed to just saying no and sticking to that no? Sure.
And I think we're in a generation where they want reasons. You don't just give an answer.
True.
They want to see the reason actually why you are giving an answer. And when we come to that place is where we tell them, do they actually know how much we earn? Because some of us think it's not necessary to let them know how much we earn. It's not necessary to know how much we are saving. It's not necessary to tell them how much we are giving, because as Christians we are an other's kingdom first. Do they know that I tithe? Do they know where my money goes? So that again, when I'm telling them no, they know I can say no and be comfortable with it. And I think we have come to a place of, initially, before I came to financial literacy, I used to see people, maybe someone is driving, but you're telling me you don't have finances to support A, B, C, D. But when I came to realize budgeting and tracking my money, I realized I can tell someone I don't have money even if I have it. It's only that reserve for that purpose has been depleted. Do our children know that our money have a name? You know, like, this is for our wants, this for our needs. We have exploited this. Can we push it forward so that they know every reason for every shilling, where every shilling is going? And when we do this, also when they get their money, they are able now to give their money a name, where they can tell you, by the way, that is in my money market account, that is in my bank account, but this one I have an allowance to give, or to, we are in a season where we also give a lot in different places. They know what to give and what to save, and they can say no and be okay with it. So our no have to be explained why it's a no.
Yes. All right. That's powerful.
Yes.
And I think that ensures that the child does not have this anger towards the parent.
Yes.
But now they come from a place of understanding.
Sure.
That's really important.
But wording also, I think it may be asking just have wisdom on how do I actually phrase this. And initially it will be difficult, because someone will be wondering, James, it sounds so easy, but how do I move on?
That's true. And I'm also thinking of the fact that we are entering the festivities, and this is a time when and I think there are two types now of money habits, whereby this one could be a spender, the other one is extremely saving. They believe money is to be kept, money is not for anything good, it's for fun. So also, maybe let's talk about that balance, and especially now we are approaching the festivities. Of course, these children do not want to look at toys. They want them, but they're like, no, my dad told me I have to save, so I'm going to deplete myself of this. So how do we ensure that we have this balance? And how do we communicate it to the kids?
Sure. And I think you have mentioned something very important, where someone, and this may come into parenting, especially where there are two parents, where children may feel one parent is super generous and the other one, we call them tightwood, where they hold everything. And some of these things are shaped up by our money blueprint. This, like, how did I grow seeing my parents do money? Maybe I came from a place where money was so scarce, everything we were told, like, it's not enough, we can't afford this and that. So when we become parents now, subconsciously, this kicks in, where even if you know I have it, I just push it aside. But now there is a place where people do money like drugs, where they want to please people to be accepted, where maybe, and I've seen this maybe to places where maybe parents have been away from the children for a while, maybe for a reason or another, maybe the parents are not together, so they want to buy their acceptance with the children. So we come to a place of maybe spoiling them, maybe to cover up, or I'm trying to get the right word, maybe to purchase acceptance or whatever it is. So do we come to a place of letting them know? And these two sides are, neither of them is right, where someone holds too tight and the other one is so generous. I think we coming to a place of balance. Can we actually come to a place of, we can afford this, but we choose not to, for us to actually have a long-term goal, where we teach our children, can we put something short term? It could be a toy, or something long term is maybe that family trip or family holiday. Can we are working on this, or this we can afford up to the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and also saying that healthy no. And I think these are lessons that maybe parents can pick, where sometimes when you say those healthy no's, it helps your children actually to have that balanced mindset about finances and all that. It's not a place where I can just pick anything I want at any one time. So it's just creating that balance where I'm not a tightwood and I'm not a spendthrift, but actually having that balance in between. But this can only come through your planning your expenditures. And when you involve our children, where maybe it's even doing groceries, can we give our children money? I know we are doing groceries together. Can I let them pay whatever we are paying? Can we compare prices? I think this last Sunday we did that with our children. By the way, this is costing this much, this is having an offer. Can we drop this and pick this? Are we involving with this very little subconscious conversation, and even doing practical with money? Yes, it's here, but we are still comparing prices. Yes, we are just trying to see how we can get better value for the money. Yes.
Wow, that's really powerful. Even what you're sharing about, even taking just a simple grocery shopping as an opportunity to teach them some
it may not look like something big, but I can bet, especially when they feel actually we have given this to actually we are spending together, we are actually being conscious. I know my daughter one time, she told my mom, my wife, like, Mom, why is it everything is so expensive? Like, unasema kila kitu ni bei kali. And it's like eventually this is something she has had over time, but maybe it was too wording it differently. It's not that it's not bei kali, it's like we are comparing prices and looking at, can I afford this at a better price? It will allow me to have some few shillings, maybe to stretch it to the next item.
Yes. And I think now that you've mentioned your wife saying that, we can talk about some of the habits as parents. Sometimes we may incorporate or even do that can shape how kids see finances. Are there some habits that we need to be careful about, especially around the children, even as grown-ups?
That's amazing. And I want to come to this, maybe statements we have always had, or we had when we were growing up: money doesn't grow on trees. Like money is the root of all evil. How do we talk about money? Subconsciously. They are statements that we grew up and they became part of how we address money. Or we come to this place where we talk about the rich, they are greedy and all that. It really ingrains in our children a very negative mentality about money. So for me, initially, even as we come about budgeting, tracking our finances and all this, I also come to this place of, are we sensitive on how we talk about money to them? Because if we come bashing the rich everywhere we go, we talk about if someone has bought this, they must have earned it in a wrong way, which is not true. If you go to maybe being in the finance world, we know there are people who have financial disciplines for years, and they have come to places where they have saved long term, they have afforded things. Can we come to this place where our conversation about finances is also shaping the way they do money, the way they perceive money, and the way they will do money in future. And that is now what forms even the money blueprint, as I have mentioned that, what is becoming like in the subconscious, how they will do money when they grow up. So for me, it's to, apart from budgeting, tracking our finances, we come to this place of also sensitivity of words, and also even as Christians, being sensitive about the scriptures that talk about money. And I think the scriptures that talk about money maybe more than heaven and hell. Like someone said that Jesus talked about finances more than he talked about heaven and hell. So these are very sensitive topic, and we need to actually, even as we do these devotions at home, can we also tackle the finances in the scriptures? Because it helps us. We have guys who have been called rich, a rich fool as a name. We don't know that guy's name. We know them as a full rich man. What made it to be that way? So can we ingrain our faith into our finances? And also I would love us to come to a place of, let them know that sometimes we struggle. And that a skill, it may not seem so, but if they come to a place where my parents have never struggled, and then they come to real life and realize, by the way, I'm here, I'm employed, but whatever I'm earning may never be enough if I'm not able to structure it rightly.
Yes.
So these are the few things that maybe we can transfer to our children for them to know actually these are the conversation, and also maybe coming to a place where even if because families sometimes we can have disagreements about money, how do we do it in front of them? Do they see money as a pain point where whenever money conversation comes in the family, it's always a fight? Can we come to a place where, yes, this is what is happening, and this is how we are approaching this money topic?
Wow.
Yes.
Beautiful. And I'm also thinking now of what we highlighted on earlier about the appropriate age to begin these lessons, to begin this more like leading them towards the right direction when it comes to money habits. At what age is it appropriate to begin?
Awesome. And as I said, I began by talking about as early as 3 years.
Yes.
And this is a place where they start knowing numbers. And can we also show them money is also calculated in numbers, where they even start seeing the colors of money, like they know 100 has this color, 200 has this color, and 300 has this color. So 3 to 5 years we talk about the basics of money. So this is where now the counting and all that, and we can start even having a piggy bank. And when I talk about a piggy bank, sometimes we have, the tins that we used to cut on top, and then we put the money in. For me, I like going against that. Because money, we want to teach them money grows. So I like having the clear jar. If you can have, I know some of the coffee we use we buy in the supermarket, they have clear jars.
Yes.
Can you have a clear jar where they see their money growing? If with those coins 3-year-old or 5-year-old, let them see their money increasing from the jar. That way they will know money grows actually, and over time it increases.
Yeah.
But now 6 to 10 years, we now shift now from the basics to actually teaching them about saving. And as I said, my son now, he is 6 years old. He has now a clear jar, a very good coffee jar, a tall one, and he can put some notes, some coins, and they are growing over time. And that way he is able to see, by the dad, my money has, it's moving it has increased at some point.
Yeah.
And then over time, now my daughter, she's 10 now. We have opened her a money market account. And also we have this conversation where, why not a bank account? Why not put here or not? We moved from actually the jar, and all the change she had, we transferred to, actually I have a video for her doing that, and let us have this moment. Let's have this moment on our phone. Let us take these videos. They will go a long way. Where now we move them to a money market account, but now I have to have one to actually put it under to branch it from mine, and now they are able to know about compound interest. Now we come from a place of, when you get your money, you save this amount of money, but also you tithe. God is your supplier. Like God has allowed you to labor. Like He has blessed the labor of your hands.
Yes.
Can we now put it in a place where it's growing over time? So now we have come from the jar 3 to 5. Now we come 6 to 10, where now they are able now to have more complex things. Now from 10 to 13 there, now we come to a place of letting them understand about debts. Now, because debt can be good, used in the right way, especially to grow a business, not to start a business, but can they also understand what debt means? The Bible talks about the borrower being a slave to the lender. Can they know if I borrow you money, it affects our relationship, even if we have not talked anything about it? The next time we meet, even if we have not come to a place where you are supposed to pay me back, you will feel that odd moment.
True.
Do they know debt also affects relationships? Can we now progressively show them the effects of money, debts, and loans, and even betting? Because what like people are talking about the earning money before you get it.
Yes.
Do they understand the biblical principles about each and every stage of life, or are we just having a blanket talk about finances.
Right.
It's age appropriate where you are progressing to complex things. And now when they come now to 14 to 18 and beyond, now we come to a place of now, can we now start talking about compound interest? What does it mean? What if I start now 200 shillings every month? How much will it be in the next 10 years? And over time, they will now see the effect of that. And also the different tools of savings.
Yes.
We have the banks, we have the insurance companies, we have all these details. I remember meeting a guy who was finishing campus, and he had saved, I think, 4 years of his pocket money, part of it, like he was even saving how much he was getting. And at the end of the 10th year, he got a lump sum payment. Wow. And these, when I look at this, I don't just see him, I also see the parents. How did he even actually know these places can be used to actually save your money? So it's a matter of knowing where your child is and which conversation do I have with them. But the good thing is, because some of these conversations will come when you're with all of them, sometimes you just talk the general wisdom about finances, but some of the times you will need to actually sit down with some of them and actually talk about finances.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. That's really well detailed and powerful. And I think just to appreciate the people who are tuned in this morning, thank you for being part of the conversation. I see Sam Jogu saying, great conversation. Thank you, Bwana Wanyugi. I also see Eunice here saying, very insightful. But how do you deal with a child who can't take no to what they want to want bought, basically, and one of the spouses actually keeps giving in? In fact, we're just going to hold that question and take a short break.
Sure.
When we come back, we'll be handling and answering that, because sometimes it's like the spouses, this one wants to say no because they're trying to instill the values, the other one kidogo inakuwa shida. But we'll be handling that question and more. If you have any questions regarding this conversation of money habits for children, then please do send them our way. We'll be back in a bit.
Hope TV is where you look and live, with an excellent selection of the best Christian programming consisting of local and international content of inspirational stories, talk shows, Bible commentary, youth, health shows, children entertainment, contemporary gospel music, extended times of worship, live broadcast, news, movies, drama, Christian ministry programs, and so much more. Hope TV is another quality service from Christ is the Answer Ministries, with over 45% of authentic and credible local content every week. Hope TV is a sister station to Hope FM, Kenya's leading Christian radio station, with footprints across the country. Tune in to Hope TV, where you look and live.
Beautiful. We are back, and of course we are having such an amazing conversation on training up our children towards the right direction when it comes to their money habits. And of course, before we went on a break, we did tackle a question here that Eunice was asking, that one spouse anataka kabisa kuhakikisha huyu mtoto this no is a no, you know, but the other one gives in. So how do you handle such a situation?
And that's a good question, but we can handle it first of all from the parenting side of it, where and this comes from every aspect on how we parent. Do the children know that we do money together? Do they know that whenever there's issues about discipline, like there's no better parent than the other? So that again, we come to this place of if we don't put value in the money that we are giving them, where, and I think maybe we said we will come to that bit where we say that by the we can give an allowance on chores and other stuff. Do we just dish out money or does that money we are giving them has value in it? Have they done something that we are rewarding with an allowance? That way they know that money is gotten by earning it. And then at the same time, I cannot, because let me just give a brief example. And I've had this so many times where I've had people, there's someone who shared with me how they schooled with someone who would be visited by different parents at different times. They are dished out money like in loads by both parents. And something that we were observing, and this had been proven over time, this child, of course, they are a grown up, maybe in their late 30s, they have succumbed to drugs and very crazy life, because for them, money, they didn't know how to delay their gratification. Whatever I need now, I have it now. So that really affects who they become in future, not just in finances, but in every other walk of life. And for me, is to just come to this very hard place where can we start doing this together? Otherwise, we are damaging this child, and we are pushing boundaries in their who they are, in their character and everything. Because whenever they see, by the way, this parent is better because they can give me whatever I need, and this other one, it's like they are so tight with on whatever I ask them to give me. And I talked about having that healthy no. Even if I have $1 million on this table, I can just tell you, by the way, this is what this is doing, and I can actually live here without giving it even 100 shillings, because this money has value and it has been allocated to ABCD. If we don't see money from the same perspective, both of us as a husband and a wife, it will communicate the same thing, division in their life. And as we talk about independence for their life, because we are not doing money habit for children just for the sake of it. We are shaping their adulthood.
Yes.
And we may think adulthood is far. I talked about having a 6-year-old in the next just 10 years. Tuchaguane mara mbili. I like talking about that because it's so easy to see how short that time is.
Yeah.
You realize that person will be 16-year-old.
That's true.
And I say from 8-year-old, if you have not taught them about finances from 8 to 12-year-old, you have lost that window of mentoring them into having that value system about finances. So we actually need to have that tough love where I have it, but I intentionally say no. I have done that countless times. I remember I did some parenting classes with my wife, and I think that is something that we realized. We have been parenting facing away from each other. Where I discipline my son here, they run to the mother. Or they are disciplined by the mother, they run to me. There is always a better parent. Until we came to a place where if they come to me, I actually tell them, what was it you were disciplined about? Actually, I will add something on top. You know, like I will tighten it. So they realize these guys, they are talking the same language in whatever they do. If they see the unity of purpose, I can bet it will be hard. And as I'm saying, we have to have this hard conversation as parents. We are pushing boundaries. It will not only affect what they are doing now, it will affect them in their adulthood. They will not have independence when they are supposed to be somewhere, you know, like doing this. And I like an example I have of a parent friend of mine. The child got a scholarship to Germany, and when the guy went there, the first thing he was giving the father, like the details of how he is doing few things, and even later paying his ticket on vacation to come back for vacation. And I like, this a guy that I've admired how he has parented his children all around on every aspect of life. And we can only achieve this when we are on the same page at any given time. If we are saying no, we are saying no for the fact that we want to teach them a lesson. And as I said, I have gone with my son, because he's the youngest. Now my daughter, we can walk to anywhere, we just budget whatever we are buying and go away. We would go and he would say, Dad, can you buy just one snack, one sweet? And we say, by the way, we haven't planned for it. Can we plan for it the next time we do our shopping? And then they know, by the way, we are looking forward to it. Am I saving towards that? Does money have value? Are they earning? Versus chores. Which chores do I give allowances? Versus I'm a family member, I should be doing chores at home. We need actually to differentiate all these gray areas.
Yes. Wow, that's good. And kwa ground,
Yes.
kusema kweli vitu
Yes.
sometimes zinakuanga different. And maybe even from your own experience, because
Yes.
from what I'm hearing you say, I can tell that your children,
Yes.
they themselves have made great strides and great progress when it comes to their money habits. But maybe talk to us about some of the challenges that you experience, maybe starting off, so that a parent who is watching may also get that perspective as well, and not be discouraged in that journey of nurturing their kids.
Yeah, for me, I think it's coming to a place where we have just talked about age-appropriate conversation about finances, so that my son having a glass jar doesn't feel less of a person from my daughter who is doing a money market already, or from the big boys who have the bank accounts and all that.
Yeah.
So it's just to the way maybe pulling back, looking at it where now I need to actually start looking at where they are, and then start to actually have that, maybe some coins on the table, coins and notes and whatever it is, and actually, especially for the very young ones, just start at basics, and then we come to this place where now we are coming from here, can we start growing it over time? And maybe I've talked about maybe if someone is having their car, can we have them clean the cars, and also having an allowance when they come now to the house, what is considered as something that we can pay, and what is considered as something that we can just say, no, that is a chore, maybe the carpet, vacuuming, or whatever it is. How can we start now saying, by this are the rules, we will start here? And I know it's not as easy the way we are saying when rubber meets the road. Now we come to the reality of, James, this talk is so amazing, but how do I start? Let us start by defining things first, and then when they know the limits and the definitions and all that, talk even about how we buy things in the house. Now from today, we will start actually, when mom is going for grocery or whoever does the groceries, can we start involving you now? Just make sure there are no things that are done by one person in secret, and we just see food on the table and things happening, but actually someone is grinding to actually make things happen. Let this conversation be as open as possible. If I'm saving short term, let them know this is where I put my money. Let them know I do long term. I invest for your education. We are putting something aside for your time when you go to college. We are doing these things progressively. Given as an example of a friend of mine who actually was paid a lump sum before even they started their first job. And you can imagine these are places where someone told them, actually, this is where you can put that pocket money you get for 10,000. You can actually take 2,000 shillings and put somewhere aside. So don't feel as if it's too late to start. Where your child is, start there. Because sometimes we can say, my child is already 14, James, and you talked about 8 to 12. No, start where they are. I remember when we did our parenting classes and the issue of discipline came up, we realized our daughter alikuwa ametukalia, like literally. She could raise tantrums. So we were like, we are doing this. This is where we are starting as a family. And I called them for a meeting on our dining table. And I remember our big boys, it was really hard actually to start having this disciplined conversation. But they joined us, and we did not know how to raise teenagers. There is always a starting point. And with time, those progressive baby steps will amount to something big. And maybe 1 year from now, you will say, by the way, James, thank God I listened to this conversation at this time. But there is always a beginning of place. And also, if possible, maybe involve a financial advisor. And some of these things, I know the scriptures talk about, in the multitude of counselors, people don't go astray. Do I also seek advice? And nowadays, there are so many people doing webinars, doing conversations are around these areas. Do I also take advantage of this? And some of them are online. I think Corona really helped us to know you can attend this thing online. You have I like having my neck band all the time, so that maybe you are in a meeting, you are transition from one place to another. Even a YouTube conversation, we are listening in, we are growing over time. So there's always a place to start, but the good thing is that being aware is better than just sitting and waiting for things to happen.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. And I'm also thinking of schools now.
Yes.
Because that's the other bit. Even as we continue with the conversation, what role do schools also have in shaping the money habits of the children?
Awesome. And I think our system 844 was a bit rigid on that, where we went to school, we crammed things, you pass the exam, go to the next level and next level. Recently, my daughter was telling us from their school, they were asked to come with, I think, 500 shillings. They are going for a shopping. And they went, she had a list on the things that she wanted to do. So I remember, and I don't want to mention the name of the brand, she came to with this one brand and she told me, Dad, I realized they had an offer. And she even came up with a plastic cup on top of what she bought. So it was discounted. So I realized our schools nowadays, they are helping our children on how to budget, on how to actually track that 500 shillings, how much items have you bought.
Wow.
And yes, and for me, I think when I saw that, I was like, I think they are moving in the right direction. Maybe it's a matter of maybe the schools that have not yet moved there, it's actually maybe their teachers listening in. How actually can we make money and finances become a normal topic and a topic that is easy to talk about? And why I love about teachers is that when we look at the companies that we have partnered with to do the financial solutions and all that, teachers are the most disciplined in savings, if I may say that. They don't earn much, but they are disciplined.
That's
Can we now start seeing this now go into our students? And as I've said, I've seen in the school where my children go to, they have these money conversations once in a while, and they make things and they sell on the closing days. And I think it's a matter of now you have earned, what do you now do with what you have earned? So that again, we come from earning, like being creative, to now where do I transition into how I use money as a Christian, because as we say, the scriptures are full of how to handle money and how to save, into now practicality of seeing beyond the now into the future long term. So I like what is happening with the current curriculum, and it's a matter of maybe if teachers are there, even role playing and doing all this stuff about finances and all that. I think they are so helpful when they are done from the school, and when they come home, when you talk about money, it's a topic that they already have a starter somewhere. We are now building into what has been taught. Yeah, so I like what is happening. I may not have the details of what is in the curriculum, but I know something is happening.
Something is happening.
Yes.
And maybe even for those who are in charge of the curriculum watching this morning, they can see how to incorporate such things, because I believe that lesson also sticks with the kids, especially if pia nyumbani they are being taught. So it becomes a beautiful balance.
Exactly.
And I see time is, we have about 10 minutes. Time is moving really quickly. But I also would love for us to look at this scenario, because yesterday I was having a discussion, and we were talking about when we were growing up, you want maybe a bicycle, and your parent will tell you, Kishika number 1. And sometimes, to be honest, because kids have different abilities, if I'm a child of just above average, number 1 at a top 10 sijai nusa,
that means the bike is not
it may never happen. And now this kid has a lot of pressure, and they're feeling like, no, my parents, they will never get me this, or sometimes it can even stigmatize them. But then there's the other side, because my small sister is one that is very brilliant. So kushika number 1 yake kwake
kama kukunywa maji.
It happens. And so there's always that something, a stipend, my dad would promise and say, ukileta hizo 8 takuongezea kakitu, so that you can put in your savings. So maybe talk about that, appreciating your children and encouraging them, in fact, to work hard, but at the same time having the balance of, so that they don't always feel like, in order to get, whatever I want, then there is what I have to put in. And sometimes they're not really able to.
Yeah.
So how do we balance this in the parenting area?
Yeah, and that's amazing. And thank God we are coming to a place where it's not just the intellect that is rewarded, but actually skill. Like if I look at my children, I know like my daughter is multi-talented, and she can sell stuff in the church market day. She can buy a packet of sweets, sell them, and make money. But now my son is on the other hand, he is very critical into thinking and all that. So he may not be grinding as much. So it's just about balancing the whole thing. Where this is not good in grades, so if I go the grade side, they may never get it. But these are they know that, but they are gifted. Their hands are so good. I know our 23-year-old boy. He's a guy. He's intellect and he's so good with his hands. He's so creative. He can fix anything. He can do stuff. And for him, that is how he is wired. So it's just looking at the giftings of who they are and also rewarding milestones. By the way, and also like being wowed by small things. Wow, this is huge. I think, how did you do this? Can we have this as just to appreciate that? Just looking at the milestone they make and also rewarding that. I remember when my daughter first, she does chess also, and I think she did national whatever, and she was awarded for stuff, and it was like. Wow. How do we now be wowed about this and make it big? Like this is so big. And then out of that, you reward effort, and at the same time, you are rewarding intellect. This is good in intellect. This is good in their hands. Can we reward and be wowed on either of them and not showing each one of them, this is less and this one is, like he is, they are soaring in this. So that again, we come to this place where they can be very creative and show them they can succeed in that. I know there are people, some of them are good in dancing, in singing. How do we actually incorporate that into growing that talent? And also, even if it's subconsciously, they may not have performed to the topmost level, but just participating. Can we reward such places? So that again, we put value, and I know that we come to this place where we want also to balance between money becoming our master or mastering our money. Can we have the same balance so that they are not also in their subconscious, I'm doing this for money, I'm doing this for money. Can we have this conversation? I'm not actually paying, but actually I'm rewarding. I'm coming to this place where we see value in that. How do we have a conversation where it's not all about money? We are also balancing between creativity, intellect, and all this balance. Yes.
Wow. That's really good. And I think that perspective is powerful, just getting to know what is their giftings and rewarding them for that. Because not every child is going to be very good academically, but then there's what they do well. So how about we reward them for that? And I think sometimes parents would use that statement, ukishika na bujua najua hatawaishika.
Yes, very true.
So it's more like anajitoa kwa hiyo ngori. But I believe that growing up, this is how it was. But right now, parents have more information. There's a lot of wisdom. And even with what you're sharing, it's very much valuable. And I think I would love for us to conclude the conversation by just talking to a parent who maybe is watching and they're feeling like, oh, you guys are talking about my child, but I need some help. So maybe talk about, what can this struggling parent do in order to improve on their money habits, and how can also this translate to their children. And also, even with that, you can also touch on mistakes that sometimes may be made, and how do we pick that child up even after they have made a mistake?
And that's a good question. For me, for that parent that you are feeling, by the way, James, as much as you have talked this, I'm a mess right now. And as I said, there's always hope. And for me, I come to this place where, and I began by saying parenting is caught and not taught. If I'm doing money wrong, my children will do money wrong. They will have a wrong mentality and perception about money. And for me, is to still come to the basics of tracking your money. And you could be in a place where you are actually in debt. You don't know actually, how do I come from this hole? Budgeting will help you to track where your money is going. Just even if it's the normal physical tracking on a notebook, or my mom used to do a 32 pages exercise book. And as I said, she was so amazing. I don't know where she learned about this. And the first and the second month, you will have known where your money is coming in from and where your money is going. If I'm in debt, can I have strategies on how to tackle this debt? Pole pole. We have snowball and strategies to use, and I think this we can have in another day, where now can I start approaching debt from the smallest pole pole to the biggest, because once you knock down your debt ya 2,000, you will feel, yes, I'm moving in the right direction. Pole pole, you will start now realizing I can do it. Another thing is having an emergency fund. Can you put something small aside and tell your children, just in case rainy days come, and rainy days will always come, and they come with a dent in our pocket. Do we have something somewhere to run to instead of downloading the next loan app to sort out situations? You see, and again, can we create this and show them, by the way, bit by bit? We may be able to tighten some belts here and there. We may need to say no to some few things just to come to this place of financial stability. And if you're there already, it's a good thing. Can you now start showing them what you are investing for their future or for your own future? That way you will show them actually money can go to your future. It can be sent to your future. And I think there's always a step to begin with, but at the same time, it's good to make this conversation as easy as possible. And I know that, as I said, money can bring emotions, but let us make it, even if it's hard, let us have it as a conversation. Eventually it will be normal. Eventually it will feel, by the way, money is not mysterious. And as we said, let us have positive talks about money. The people in the world talk about vibrations and energies and manifestations. But when you look at the background of it, the more positive I am, it will also affect the way they see things. They will now cease from living in anxiety, realizing, by the way, we are barely making it to a place of, by the way, we are in control. We may not have enough, but actually we are moving in the right direction. Because anxiety can also affect our children, also in the way they live every day. And sometimes they may not tell us, and we're in an era where there is so many conversations about mental health and all this, but sometimes it's to look at the pain points, the triggers and all this. But money, I can tell you, once we handle this topic, it will be so big and it will sort out so many other areas of our life.
Wow, this is so powerful. And I see Sylvia Mireri anasema, very interesting. I have learned something today, and adding any apps that can help teenagers to save, just like MMI funds. Maybe if you have any applications that you know of, or maybe how can these children actually adapt this saving habits and money habits. Even as parents, how can you work with them in that journey as well?
Sure. And as a career, what I do, and I said this is something that I've been so passionate about. I come to a place of looking at who we are putting our money into. Have they been there in the market for long? Have we vetted them? They have proven integrity and all this stuff. Because money markets are there, banks are there, but again, what is earning my family or my child the maximum that they can get, so that again the compound interest is working for them. I like giving an example of a person we well know called Warren Buffett. He started at the age of 11 because sometimes we think he just woke up one day, but you can bet 11 years he was guided by a parent. Can we have this information? Information is always there, but maybe guys can follow my socials at James Wanyugi. I'm more than glad to give, maybe say by these guys, they may not be the best in the percentages, but you can trust them because they have been there for ages, and you can't do a track record because people have lost money and people are maybe very sensitive when we talk about saving and all this. But maybe having a financial advisor, have that conversation. Who has been there in the past? What is their track record? Or are they guys coming in with an app and giving a very high percent? And I know there are people who have lost money in the last maybe 4 years or so out of chasing a percentage. But can we look also into who can we trust in the market out there? And I may not mention names here because, again, we're in a public media, but also it's good to do due diligence. And as I'm saying, engage financial advisors. Have this difficult conversation. This is where I am. I'm in debt. How do I move from point A to B, and have this conversation, and also let us guide our children.
Yes.
By the we can open this online with you, like that's what I did with my daughter. We uploaded her birth certificate and all this stuff, and started an account that we are growing over time.
Yes.
So that anything she sells, either it's a market day in church, whatever it is, we are telling them that the 10% goes to our provider, and this other part we may give to our worthy cause, but other part we can save long term. Let us have these conversations, and along the way we will be able to be in a place where we are guiding our children in the right way. But the issue is, let us do our background vetting, look at, we don't put their money in a place where they will be hurt in future, even if it's a considerable percentage, but it's giving something over time.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, beautiful. And I also see my mom saying that she's loving the interview, listening with my dad.
Wow,
So
nice.
They are watching.
That's amazing.
Yes,
Thank
I
you
do
so
have
much.
2 younger sisters as well. So I know this
Awesome.
is good information for
Sure.
me, for the families that are watching,
Yeah.
for the teenagers that have also gotten a chance to be part of this conversation. Thank you so much, James,
You're
for
welcome.
your insights and your words of wisdom regarding this topic.
Yeah.
And maybe you can just mention once again how people can find you, if maybe they need a bit of advice or just to follow up with what you're doing.
Sure. Yeah, and I work right across at the 4th Ngong Avenue, Williamson House. But other than that, I know nowadays we are always on our phones. If you type James Wanyugi, and make sure you are typing that well, Facebook, LinkedIn, and which other one? IG. I'm always
X.
online, and just do a DM, and I'll be more than glad to connect.
Yes.
But basically, and I know, I don't know I can share my contacts later, but I believe I could be accessible in those areas.
Yes. Okay. Beautiful. Thank you so much, James.
You're
God
welcome.
bless you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming through, and we bless the Lord for you. This is in fact a ministry in itself, even as we train up our kids in the way that they should go. The Bible says when they grow up, they will not leave that path. They will not depart.
Sure.
So asante sana, and also asante to our viewers. Thank you for tuning in this beautiful morning. I hope you've been able to learn. For the parents, I hope you've been able to take in some important nuggets, not just for yourself, but even for the kids that the Lord has blessed you with. But we've come to the end of the conversation. This was Financial Fitness, what we do each and every single Monday. This has been on YouTube, so definitely if you are just tuning in now and feeling bad that you may have missed it, well, you really have not missed anything, because we have had this live on YouTube as well. In the evening from 6 p.m. we'll also be having a repeat of this show, so that means that you can also catch up with us right there and get all the insights once again. So allow us kusema kwaheri. I'll see you guys tomorrow on One Day at a Time. My name is Beatrice Nudi. Do have yourselves a blessed day. Kwaheri.